Great seeing everyone today. As you know, my name is Johnny, but today I would love to share a little bit more of what makes Johnny Johnny. First off, would like to mention what I have lived in Halifax all my life. I am the youngest of three. My brother and sister moved to Calgary in the last 10 years. Growing up, we lived in the north end of Halifax. We lived 1 block away from our church and school that we attended. The name of our church was St. Stephen's. The school is called our Blessed Mother of Calcutta. Our priest was Father Boudreau. In the 1980s, religion was taught at our school, then moved into the church. Then in my religion class, there was 15 to the class. I went to religion class before Mass, and then met my parents before Mass began. I was born with a fatted tissue on my forehead. My mom always tells me the story when we went shopping and Mom sat on the bench. We met little kids who come up to me, my mom, and say, "Did you drop your baby?" When I was a little older, the surgeon operated and took the tissue out. Then I had another facial surgery. In grade 5, I developed minor epilepsy, which got very severe by the time I was age 16. I graduated grade 12 from Halifax West High in 2000. In school, I was part of a leadership program with a group of young kids my age. About 10 kids each day would come up with a smile on their face and wanting to play games and run around. Once a week, the leaders would take the kids run around field trip, places like swimming, museums, and bowling, and watching kids would put a smile on my face. When we went to these places, the kids would not want to leave. Being the junior leader one day, when we were on the field trip, one day I was in the charge the day. One of the boys was pushing another boy on the playground because the other boy was throwing rocks at another boy. They were separated from the rest of the day and told if it happens again, they will not be allowed to come back to the program for the rest of the summer. Growing up and going to the Sunday school, my parents took me to the church every Sunday. I can remember being the first one out of the door on Sunday. We only lived 1 block away from the church. I always ran to the church and picked a place to sit. I ran. It was always in the same place, the front row. One Sunday, I was 2 or 3 years old. My father was going onto the altar to read. And the first reading, I follow my dad everywhere he goes. I followed him up onto the altar. onto the altar crying. My mother came and grabbed me from the altar. When I was in junior high and when the day came for basketball tryouts, I went to the first day of tryouts and all we did was run around laps around the gym. We would run around laps for at least 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, I thought I was going to die. At the end of the laps, I was the last one, so I was sure I would not make the team. But the coach said to keep coming back to tryouts, so I kept going back. When the next tryouts came, I was running laps to warm up. After the warm-ups, we did drills around the net, and each one of us shot the ball into the net. When we shot the ball close up at the net, I would never get the ball into the net. So I went back to the net, to the three-point line, shot the ball from the three-point line, and it was nothing but net.
Nice.
After that, I would always shoot from the three-point line and never miss.
Nice.
By the time tryouts were over, everyone told the coach, make sure Johnny's on the team. Knowing I was on the team, it would make me popular around school. It was the day of the first game. Half of the first period was over. We were down by 3. By the end of the game, we were down by 3. The team yells at the coach, put Johnny in the game. He puts me in the game, 5 minutes left in the game. I am at the three-point line. On the 1 minute left in the ball gets passed to me. I shoot, score at the three-pointer. We win the game. The only time I am put in the game is when we are down by 3 or losing by a lot.
Nice.
After high school, I took a carpentry course at the NSCC for 2 years. After the course, I started installing hardwood flooring and laminate flooring with a private contractor. At this time, my seizures got more severe. One Friday afternoon, I was working away in an apartment building, alone at the time. I did not realize how tired I was getting. At that time, I should have stopped working altogether, but I had a seizure before I left for home. After this happened, to me, it affected my work. Since that incident, I have been working only occasionally. Since then, and I was a member of St. Agnes Church and have moved to 6 Canary Crescent. When St. Benedict opened 3 years ago, I decided to be an active member of St. Benedict. I never regretted it since. Now, my seizures are controlled by medications, not as severe, and are not causing as many problems to me. Thank you.
Awesome, Johnny. So, Johnny, I really like the part when you talked about following your father up under the altar.
Right.
Yeah. So it's kind of like an interesting message that you're leaving us here with the fact that, be like a child and follow Christ in a childlike way, which is a really neat message, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. And, I think some of the part of your story, like wanting to be playful and finding joy in some of those kids that were playing. And I think that you really have that childlike demeanor that is a really good example of how to live one's life, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so awesome. So thanks for sharing that, my friend.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.